expected as well. Gwen, Kaisa going to be banned from them. We also get the Skarner, Yunara ban from that red side from BLG.
Yeah, standard bans, I would say, coming in that are kind of necessary right now. I think Yunara, just too strong, has to be banned out. And WE, if there is any team that's just, we're not giving Gwen over, it's been WE. Yeah. And if there's any player that's not allowed to play Gwen, it's been. So, you know, kind of a perfect storm there. But they continue to ban the Trundle on blue side. It's something that they don't want to go towards. This is a champion Monki really made his name on, but not willing to opt into it for B1. But with that Aurora as the final ban, it does leave up, you know, a pretty big power pick we talked about in our first series of the day, that being Varus, if they do want to go in that direction.
Very true. It could be the lock-in, and it's going to be let through and picked up by WE as their first pick. So he said give Taeyoon some options. He's got a lot of them here, but instantly some big power picks coming back from BLG. Instantly going from this standoffish, kind of supportive pick for Knight to the wombo combo of the Scion and the Azir.
Yeah, he got player of the game in game one, but maybe he didn't feel so comfortable, you know, taking that back seat. Maybe next time he's looking at the matchup, he's like, I'm not going 40 minutes again. I am, you know, I'm leaving the game in my hands. So he ends up picking up the Knight, I guess Azir's kind of Knight-ish in terms of the way that
he's Batman of Shurima.
Oh, now that's a good. That's a really great comparison. But it will be the Orianna locked in here. For Karis. This is like the classic LCK Karis pick. He was spamming this back in the day for many teams over in the LCK. Orianna Varus gives us very little to go off of, but it's the Yorick locked in for Cube. The classic.
I remember the beginning of the year when Yorick was just everywhere. I feel like you couldn't escape a single game without, or at least a series without seeing a Yorick at some point. The Scion ended up becoming that kind of counter tank matchup where you can work a little bit in the side lane, but you really become that team fight menace. And we'll see what version of that we get today, as the Sivir is locked in for Elk, giving a ton of wave clear potential there.
I love the Sivir lock-in here. I think Sivir is one of the more consistent answers in the meta to Varus in terms of just the way that she can push in the lane and still scale really well into the late game. I think that she kind of takes away some of that. So I like the idea for Elk, and obviously he's had a ton of success on these team fighters. I think especially if you want to play around this Azir, speeding up an Azir always feels pretty good. So definitely we'll see which kind of engager they want to go for, either in the support position or the jungle or both. You know, Jarvan I think made a lot of sense, so it tracks for WE to take that off the board, but the Poppy also definitely a scary proposition here.
I'm really curious at what we're going to get from jungle here for both of these guys. We saw last time, I mean, Monki took that aggressive invade into Shadow, and I think we're going to continue seeing things like that between these two guys who love to get active early. We do see the Nico respect ban over there towards Vampire. We'll see if the jungle focus is still going to be the main focus for WE.
I think it would make quite a bit of sense. Couple of things jump out in terms of things that you might want to ban out here for Shadow. Sejuani, I think, is kind of the main one in terms of something that he really, you know, benefits from, that I think fits really well with the Azir, obviously. Wukong, if you're scared of the teamfight engage, as the Wukong ban does come out, I think it should absolutely be one of those two, just with how things are set up. But I would imagine the other ends up getting picked here. Alistair's still up on the board, usually a game one kind of pick there if it's available, so would also make sense, but you need engage somewhere is I guess the point I'm trying to make.
It's also a potential steal away. It is the most played from Vampire, and they will end up grabbing it away, so some tanky front lines coming in for BLG, and a counter pick for Shadow. We said it earlier, it was a little throwaway comment. Shadow has been willing to go for more carries and things like that, but maybe also trying to eye the best facilitator here in the final pick of the draft.
He's got his pick. There are quite a lot on the board in terms of ones that I would consider viable in the meta. Now, which does he feel comfortable on? That we will have to see. It will be the Varus and the Renata as the bot lane duo coming in. You see that Sivir on the other side. You want to try and push that Sivir in and, you know, contest her as much as possible in the early game. I think Renata gives you the best shot at doing that. This hostile takeover is also very scary with Sivir ricochets potentially coming out. So, you know, you could theoretically see quite a bit. You know, you don't talk about hovers here, but, you know, generally I think that there are definitely options for both sides. It's not a hover. It is a lock.
Let's go. Monki says, I'm going Olaf, and he just wants to run at him. The question is, what do you go down as Shadow? What do you try to counteract? Because he is going to try to be active early and continue fighting.
Oh,
the Zed! He ain't getting run down if he's playing with
today.
shadows.
We are blessed today, Lennon. You were absolutely right. Playing with shadows with the Zed locked in. I didn't see that coming from a million miles away. These drafts are insane.
Goat.
This is crazy. I think these drafts are super fun. This jungle matchup is going to be taking all of the spotlight throughout this entire game, and I, for one, cannot wait to see which one ends up winning.
With how aggressive they both were, with the kind of path they like to take, it's always been a moniker of Shadow. And we were wondering if that kind of facilitation, the role he's kind of grown into since all that time on stage in the spotlight of Bad Lions all those years ago, what version of him we're going to get. And I love that he's willing to go for both. You saw that cheeky smile on his face as they were locking it in. And now you got to be locked in for real. Both comps are a little bit wonky. And I would not come away from this draft saying one side was kind of the clear better of the other, but the mechanical execution just rose through the roof, I feel like, for both sides, and needing to find that level of play here in game 2.
I agree that it's going to come down to mechanical execution. What I'll slightly disagree on is I think I favor BLG's draft. I think this Zed complements a lot of things really well. I like this setup for them. If this Azir can get fed, it's going to be a very scary game. Their scaling is really good with the Azir and Sivir, and if this Yorick can't just side lane, you can force these fights pretty easily with Alistar and Sion. So, you know, we'll see what they end up setting up with, but I think the tools are in their hands to make the most of this.
But there's a man with a case of Graggy Ice that's going to be running at you with axes made out of cardboard. What do you do as we get into game 2 of WE versus BLG? They always get the extra one in there.
Yeah, they get to cheat. They get more than everyone else. That's unfair.
Is that level 1 you were asking about earlier?
Oh, no, I just saw something. We popped up a little graph here. I don't think Monki has items right now, which would be a bit disastrous if they did end up going for a fight.
No way he doesn't have items, right? Oh, my God, Monki, back the hell right now. Right now, go back. Jesus Christ, man. Oh my God. When you pick something like this, you have to be execute. You can't do that. I mean, he's going to be a little late now. I mean, luckily Olaf's clear is fast, but if you're going to have this moment, like that's what these kinds of moments are so tough because you are picking the weird kind of off meta champion that you feel like is strong here, and then you don't set yourself up for success. Finally gets over there to the chickens. He'll start that one up. Both junglers are going to be starting on the bot side, moving towards top, but we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, definitely a small advantage for the Zed, whose clear is already very, very good here, but I can't imagine that champion's going to benefit too much from taking advantage of it, at least for now. When you're looking at things in the early game to watch out for, I do like the fact that both of these junglers are pathing topside, because I think one of the most important champions in this game is the Yorick. If this Yorick gets out of control, that immediately becomes very problematic for BLG to be able to answer in a side lane with how much they've indexed into teamfighting with their draft. So, gonna be interested to see what kind of attention is put there, but still a good situation overall for both.
I appreciate that, and the logic is sound. But I raise you Sion, being OP as hell. And I think it's a far cry from what the Yorick was the last time we were seeing it run rampant, right? It is still the Yorick to some extent, but it's not, I feel like, as dominant. So really, I want to keep a close eye on how this side lane ends up going for both of these guys, but we do end up getting a very fast clear from Shadow. He is already done, and yes, Monkey's trying to catch up, but he still has his blue and his Gromp to do, so the tempo is in favor of Shadow.
Yeah, this was already very in favor of Zed in the early game, and that's only been compounded by everything that's been going on. He actually gets a full recall off and is able to just walk back to the crab in time. So this is a really big lead. If a fight does happen here, he's got double sword to be able to fight this out. See if Shadow wants to maybe play a bit aggressive.
Oh, Monkey knows. Monkey knows he wanted to come over, and it instantly gets chunked though you do gain attack speed when you get lower. Monki wants to take the fight, missing the shuriken there. Gonna go ahead and pop the ghost here. He's just gonna fight it out. Does have the shielding. Shadow can't fight. The flash comes through the undertow, and Monki! The solo bolo for WE's jungler, and now Bin dies too.
Looks like Monki will give his life for this, with Bin's corpse being able to take him down. But what a play for Monki as we get a fight bot.
And on, force the flash. Bin's going to be down. Elk is still fighting in a 1v2. It's a little bit dicey in the end. But so far as the dust settles, a 2-1 advantage for WE.
You know, no jungle item, no problem for Monki. I think he's in a perfectly fine spot. It doesn't matter. Who cares that Zed has an item advantage, that he got his clear off so early? This is an Olaf. You still can't fight him in that direction. Shadow paying the price, and quite frankly, that's a pretty big mistake. This is a really big chunk out, and honestly, I would agree with Shadow in this play. Force Monki out of here. He's at half health. He's an Olaf. He misses the Q, but fortunately, Shadow does as well, and from that point onwards, the Olaf can, in fact, just run you down. The flash coming out, but as Bin ends up missing the skill shot, it does end up costing BLG pretty huge there. Monki even able to survive enough to die to the corpse of Bin on the top side. But what a big win for Monki to not only get himself back in the game, but really start to enable this Olaf to push forward.
And that's what Olafs love. If you don't know, he's just going to get to run at people once he hits that level 6 mark. And he is very quick at taking objectives as well. Go ahead and start up this dragon. Vampire was on vision. Shadow could move over, but going to go ahead and give this side of the map. Go for the scuttle over there. So WE will strike first for the objectives here as well.
Yeah, this is a huge start for WE. A great beginning of the game for them. Basically an instant dragon take. That's what you can get with an Olaf, especially once he's enabled with that phage and has that extra kill and assist. But I think one thing we didn't really note in terms of how that ended up breaking down, Karis got a kill in that exchange as well on the Orianna. That really matters in this mid lane matchup for the scaling.
If it comes back to pay dividends for WE. Still a very dead even early game, and while we have a little bit of a moment, gotta give a special shout out to our new sponsor, ProDiff.gg, where you can go get one-on-one coaching from former and current pros in the LTA, the NACL, and ERLs. You can improve your gameplay and also use LPL 10 to save 10% on ProDiff.gg. It's pretty cool. They go ahead and go through the plays with you. They'll sit with you and tell you what they think you should do in those moments or what they would do in those moments. And you can kind of take that experience into your next games. Go check out ProDiff.gg. Scan that QR code in the bottom left as WE make a play on the Bin in topside. The Maiden has been called. The Unstoppable Onslaught has also been used. And Bin will be slowed down in the muck of WE as they take another kill.
Yeah, it does take the flash of Q, but I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good trade on the top side. It's Monki once again just making such a huge impact on the map. Credit to him, he's really opened up this game. He looks so comfortable on the Olaf, and with 2 kills now, this could be very, very scary for the Grubs, which are spawning in 1 minute. Olaf is making his way towards the bot side right now, but he will clear up so quickly that should be able to get there in time. We'll have to see what exactly he wants to plan, but man, this Olaf is paying off.
Man, who needs items to start the game? I mean, that's what I'm learning today. Ooh, the handshake from Vampire gets a beautiful stun on. He's out of there, but now they get the kill back to bail out. Timed out. Elk beautifully timed that, and Vampire's going to go down too. A double kill for Elk, but here comes Monki. Shadow's right behind him. Monki might be 2 kills up, but he cannot handle a 1v3. He'll back away.
Huge win for Elk in that fight. He perfectly times it, as you said, the bailout. I thought for sure that was a free kill for WE because of everything available to Taeyoon, but it's beautifully played by the bot lane of BLG, and they had a great game 1. They're stepping up again already in game 2.
And it's that pivot point, the bot lane, Elk versus Taeyoon. Meanwhile, you get the flash out of Karis. Both flashes used by both mid laners as they try to get each other with the ultimates. A little bit of Battleship being played in the mid lane, but both are going to try to step away now. Support's getting active on the map, but I like these setups. Next setup is around the Grubs that had just spawned about 20 seconds ago.
Oh, and On's not waiting.
They got the death mark as well into Vampire, but it's not going to be enough. They tried to get a very cheeky play there from BLG. He is going to get some flashes down, and look at it, no flashes available on anyone on the side of WE. They're going to start up the grubs.
It's an understandable play to go for if you're BLG. It's very difficult to posture around this objective here with how much combat power Monki has at level 6 with this Olaf. I think going for a potential pick before the fight might be positive, but we get a replay here of the 2v2. It's once again on just going in with the double knockup, getting the engage down, but taking quite a bit of damage at this point. On
Where's
is
the bailout?
So
All right, bailout is
the bailout
on.
Comes in and it's ticking, and
dude,
it just expired literally instantaneously. We're back.
Elk is literally on a time marker. Now on, trying to get away with the unbreakable will, and Monki runs out of gas, he runs out of juice, and he is squeezed by the 3-kill Elk.
This is a very, very dangerous game to play for WE. Yes, it's nice that Monki has been able to run a lot of the early game, but a 3-kill Sivir is one of the few things that actually can deal with that relatively well in the late game because of her ability to speed herself up, and so becomes a lot more difficult to run at the team in that instance. We will see how Elk ends up playing, but he's in a perfect position to carry this game number 2.
He is feeling confident as hell, too. You know he's got that item when he gets back. And speaking of, first item is going to be coming up. That is going to be the Eclipse completed for Shadow. But we got to talk about this man, Elk. I mean, if you didn't know, even with all these bright names, Elk probably has been the biggest benefactor of BLG for their wins. I mean, a lot of the time it falls on his shoulders. And while they're not focusing on him now, they are focusing on Karis. They're going to take some alcove gameplay here, but with this vision, Knight should be able to poke him down. Actually goes for the push on the wave instead. Has the lethal tempo stacked up, and he gets taken down. Knight from a distance.
I just had to make sure he had enough damage to combo him down after the second knockup, but he absolutely did. It's a really nice pick. Well played by On to stay out of vision there, and generally just a heads-up play overall from BLG. Again, winning across the map and getting themselves priority on this dragon.
So back to Elk. No. It's been a truly team-wide effort so far today, but I think Elk has been stepping up immensely. First that Xayah game, and realizing that 12-1 is a pretty damn good scoreline for the Lovers duo for BLG. But he now, in this game number 2, has the possibility to shut down any of that kind of miracle stuff that WE's trying to work with, the back-to-back series against each other, to try to take down the undefeated BLG, and Elk stands strong in their way.
Elk is absolutely the strongest member here of BLG, and the one that will be leading the charge, both figuratively and literally, as the game continues on. He does have that completed Essence Reaver, so his combat power right now is ridiculously strong, and with the completed item as well on the Zed in the Eclipse. This could be a very dangerous time for WE to fight. If the setup ends up happening, we will have to see what their decision ends up being, but for now, the pressure in the mid lane is definitely going to be in favor of BLG.
It is indeed, as he still has that cold to come up as well. The dragon had gotten taken, so we're 1-1 now in those dragon scores. A little bit of movement from WE in the mid lane. They did end up getting first item completion for Monki, so he should be able to be pretty powerful in these chase down moments. He's actually looking to be a little bit invasive to BLG's jungle. They do steal away the blue buff there. Now they're going to try to find an escape route out bot side.
I like the setup here overall from WE. I think being able to take away gold from this Zed is actually pretty important. We're getting kind of dangerously close to Zed not being quite so strong. He still has a gigantic CS lead, so, you know, it's not one of those things where the Zed's going to be useless or anything, but certainly not a champion that's going to be ubiquitously good no matter what. So I think at least attempting to try to turn this into a game that Elk has to win on his own is an admirable plan. Unfortunately, might be more easier said than done in terms of how this game has started off.
And not great that on the back of that, not only do you have like almost 1,000 gold lead for Elk, but Knight and Bin will be massive factors in these fights too, as Bin's already on 1.5 items. He's going to be with that Bramble Vest there. Going to feel really good for BLG, but they can keep this pressure up out of 2,000 gold lead. WE just have to hold on. They did get first items themselves, and we are getting the on-hit Blade of the Rune King start for Taeyoon. So he's going to be right in there fighting. And if there's anywhere I want Taeyoon, that's where I want him.
Absolutely. You want to see Taeyoon start to get aggressive. You're absolutely right. That Blade of the Ruined King completed. Lethal tempo as well for Taeyoon. So
Karis, no.
Oh,
Karis,
no,
what have you
Karis.
done? Shockwave coming in, but it has all been bursted and it has all been used. Nice flash coming out. Is the mark of death going to be enough? The burn not? It is! On gets the fadeaway kill, but the kill comes
Monki.
back. Monki gets one, but that is it. And Knight carves him up right back. Now Taeyoon trying to get away now. Elk has popped on the hunt. Oh, Chains of Corruption goes barely wide. Taeyoon wanted to try to get some good damage on Elk. They don't get anything in the end. It is a 2-for-1 in favor of BLG.
It is a win for BLG. It takes a lot of resources in order for them to win that fight, but it certainly does end up happening, and especially because you get yet another kill onto Knight here with the Azir. This is slowly becoming a very dangerous comp in the late game. One of the reasons I was so confident in BLG's draft and why I liked it so much was your carries and just how easy it is for them to be able to free hit on the backline as long as the Olaf can't get to them, as long as you have your Sion and Alistar in a good spot. And you know what? They're in a pretty good space to be able to pump out that damage, especially after that win.
Yeah, they absolutely are. We're going to take a look back at that one. Karis' best attempts and can't get away from it. I love that Monki is here to capitalize, but still just gets the 2-for-1.
Yeah, this is such a tough spot for an Orianna. There's really no way to survive there. You just have to try and set up your jungler as much as possible, but Shadow just barely living the damage from Olaf as Knight ends up taking down this bot lane tier 1 turret. Some more gold going into the pocket of this Azir. Both carries at around a 1.5k gold lead individually over their opponents, and that definitely bodes well for BLG as Q could be the target.
They're going to try to lock him down. Unfortunately, there's a cage of pandas that On gets stuck in. But his maiden! What will you do without your maiden? Oh, Cube has become maidenless. What do we do?
No. That's unfortunate, but unfortunately for Cube, I think he's kind of on his own in this one. Maidenless and
literally.
teamless in terms of how things are going. No one's
Oh,
surrounding him.
Monki wants it. Instantly pops the Ragnarok. Chains of Corruption going to go a little bit wide. Elk beautifully navigating this fight, but Shadow will become one with the Death Realm as Knight has TP'd in. It's a 4v5 in favor of WE.
Yeah, this is a really good setup for WE. The fight is not yet over, but no smite here, or BLG would make this very risky.
Yeah, they are just going to go in with it. I mean, the Rift Herald goes their way, at least for WE. Now a flank from On, kicking Monki in, but the Shockwave comes across onto the back line, and now Elk getting ran down by Taeyoon with that On hit Varus. Knight goes in, he's in 1v5, gets one kill back. The flash return, though, as WE cleans up. They get the Rift Herald and the fight.
A very, very greedy play there from BLG to try to contest. Their jungler ends up going down early. It's a really nice blast cone over for Monki. And then they just don't give up. They just stand there and end up trying to fight. On looks for the flank, but he doesn't knock, I don't know, a Varus or an Orianna into the team. He knocks an Olaf right into the middle of his entire team, who ends up just running through everybody. And WE with a really nice teamfight win to get them right back into this game.
And Taeyoon's got some money. He's going to be able to spend it. Monki going right in, right where he knew he needed to.
Yeah, this is huge. Once again, unfortunately, the Chains of Corruption not landing, but Shadow is dead at the start of this fight. It's impossible for him to be able to get out of here on the Zed. He's really been neutralized in these fights, but once this Herald goes down, which is entirely controlled by WE, Monki is still healthy enough to be able to contest here. And on the flank looks like he's in a great spot, but ends up going for the isolated Olaf and just pushes him right into the Azir. And as much as that can be a positive, it's really difficult to really punish that as much as you would be able to another member. Knight tries to pick up something in return, does force the flash for flash trade from the Yorick, which could be punishable, but it's a really good play from WE. And once again, just like in game one, nobody is holding on to these leads.
Yeah, not at all. And I got to give a special shout out to Karis there. The Shockwave, as that counter engage came in from On, kind of distracting the other side of the fight against BLG, really came up huge there. As now we see that Rift Herald play pulled on the bot side. They were able to get that outer turret, and now the gold has fully stabilized for both sides. Second item is there for Taeyoon. Not there just yet for Elk, and this Gwynsu's really turns on the heat for the Varus.
Yeah, it's kind of necessary for Taeyoon to fight around this 2-item power spike. We'll see how much they want to push it, but this is really on Monki at this point to continue to push this tempo. He's been so aggressive throughout this game. You know, we've talked a bit on the pre-show and game number 1 about how there can be times.
Oh, the hostile takeover is being used. Vampire, in a abundance of caution, tries to use that to get himself out, can't get away, and BLG find a pick.
That's what I was talking about. That is literally what I was referencing. You can't be making those mistakes every game. It feels like around this time, WE makes one critical error. That is another swing in favor of BLG. Now, not quite as consequential as maybe some others, but he's just backing in such an aggressive spot and gets caught out.
Oh, man. That feels so bad, dude. That it's just, the problem is, like, you can't make an excuse for that. Like, as much as you want to. But hey, you gotta go with the lessons taught. We'll see if they can turn that a little bit around. But about 1,000 gold lead now for BLG off the back of that mistake. Flicker Blade has been completed for Elk as well, and also has the cloak, so going to be getting close and maybe going for that IE. We'll see what ends up happening in these setups, but still, these fights so contentious. We don't have one for a while besides the Atacon spawning on the bot side of the map.
I mean, that is the objective to look out for here, spawning in 10 seconds. We'll see if either team really wants to prioritize it. I typically think it's very difficult to try and prioritize Atacon with no other objective on the map, but you never really know with teams this aggressive. They might just want to force a fight no matter what. So we will see how it ends up going, but again, that power spike for Taeyoon, this is the time to capitalize on it, and just doesn't really look like there's an easy way to do so. WE, though, at least making their way into the area to control the vision.
All right, flashes are coming up, and they realize they have this attack speed. They have the Olaf and the Varus. They can just take this Atacon out from under BLG's noses. But this is begging for BLG to be in their comfort zone. Their fighting strength that we've seen already in this series. WE back off instantaneously as soon as they see everybody from BLG show up. Cube is going to be left alone in the side lane, and Knight will potentially be able to get that outer turret in the mid lane. BLG start up the Atacon.
Yeah, this is so risky. Teleports are available for both members that are not at this fight, but Cube is going to be happy to split push. This is good for WE. It creates more time for this Yorick. It looks like they're going to back off to answer Knight moving topside.
That being said, you know, the false trigger pull there from both sides, trying to get some of these TPs out, trying to get some of this movement out so they can make some plays at the latter times. I love to see those kinds of movements. Also, Monki can have the Randuin's second here, as well as the Hex Drinker ready to go with his shield. It's going to be getting pretty tanky.
Yeah, I really love this from Monki. He's going to be so difficult to break through, and that gives him a lot more time to, you know, run past the Scion, to run past the Alistar. It gives you more ways to be able to break through onto that backline. You're going to have enough damage, your Olaf, inherently, so love the idea. It's all really just about the execution now, and these close quarters fights can really benefit either team, just depending on how the setups end up going with either the ricochets and the shuffle, or ideally, of course, the Olaf just getting a free rundown with the Orianna ball on top of him. But we've still got quite a lot going for, I would say, WE as well. Like, as much as we've talked about BLG having control of the game, I would say that Azir, like, very killable, very dealable with in this game. I think that there are a lot of ways to be able to, you know, get onto that backline. Same thing for the Sivir. Once she blows Spell Shield early on in these fights, you know, it's going to be difficult to kind of stop the damage. I think especially with it being on-hit Varus.
I sense some hesitancy from WE to take space at least, but now they're going to move in full force. I mean, you have Dragon in about 25 seconds. It would be a soul point on yet another Infernal Soul, by the way. We're lucky tonight. But a soul point for WE gives them so much of that decision-making power. Monki trying to catch down Elk, forces Elk's Spell Shield out, even though the Undertow did not hit.
Big cooldown for Elk to have to
That's
worry
Ghost
about
down,
now.
though.
Yeah, but Monki is at the very least shoving in this wave, creating a ton of pressure in the mid lane. This is a big turret coming up from Knight. It actually stabilizes this pressure quite a lot with the Dragon up, so Elk should be able to clear this out and make his way there. See if WE can punish in time.
Monki getting chunked here. If he finds one Undertow, that is his immediate go button. Not able to find it where he wants to. Here comes the Unstoppable Onslaught. Shadow trying to go in early. The exhaust comes down. The Shockwave. Shadow can't do anything. That's exactly what WE wanted.
This Zed is just not making an impact on the game. It's so difficult for him to go in. They needed to wait a little bit longer, and all of this is happening with Cube split pushing on the top side. This is exactly what WE wants, as they now start up the Otacon. You're forced to react to the Yorick.
This is actually insane. All right, they do end up stopping Cube from backing there. They'll be able to take him down slowly but surely, but they just gave up Soul Point over to WE, and it still takes a village to take down Cube.
This is the strength of the Yorick. I called this out in the draft, where despite the fact that you feel like you're in a great spot with the Azir and Sivir, you make one mistake where you take, 30 seconds too long to set up a fight, and the Yorick absolutely punishes you. It's one of the most punishing champions in the game for improper setups, and BLG is really feeling that to an extenuous extent right now.
Almost on third item for Taeyoon as well. Monki getting closer and closer to his. Do like the Executioner's stop off from Elk just to try to combat some of the healing that's going to be coming through. But I will say, big man on campus. Knight has now hit 3 items, and we said it at the beginning of the day. We've gone all across these focuses. It's been crazy. It's been back and forth. But at the beginning of the day, I said, on paper, Knight should absolutely dumpster Karis. But that has not been the story. And that has not been the story for a lot of this split for Knight, and even last split. But now he's on a signature champ. He's on his big power spike with 3 items. I need to see him unleashed.
This is the opportunity for him to showcase why he's considered the best player in the LPL, but could be seeking a fight right now.
They go for it. They know Vampire's caught out. They're going to Unstoppable Onslaught as well. Taeyoon is right there, but they might just all get caught up in it. Vampire going to flash away. Ends up getting a decent chunk back onto Bin. Knight forcing on the side here. Meanwhile, Cube has been pushing up that bot lane. What do BLG do? It seems like every time they try to find answers, they come up with nothing.
And again, all of this happening while Cube is just happy in a side lane. Pushing in waves and forcing decisions from BLG. They need to be more decisive. It's been great defensive play by WE, but at some point, BLG's play has to work.
Okay, they're going to try to collapse on a Cube. Last time they did this, Knight was forced to burn his flash, and they still took all 4 of them. Oh, disgusting! But he does get out with that blast code, and now Knight dies to the Maiden under all of that. Knight is gone now. That 3-item spike, non-existent for BLG.
Where was the damage from the Azir? It just didn't come through. It was autoing, and the Yorick never got broken down. It's huge for WE. Not only do they win in the side lane to be able to create more of a pressure advantage, but now they can just rotate up to Baron, which had just spawned here, and they can pressure this objective as well.
I don't know, man. I'm getting feelings that we're going to 3. WE feeling so strong in some of their decisions here, but now they force the Baron fight. Taeyoon was really strong, but BLG, they overextend now on headbutts the Maiden and just gives his life away as BLG watches. Now they just have no contest here for this Baron start.
Yeah, this is a really, really bad situation for BLG.
This is desperate.
Even poked out.
Like what? They just walk up to an Olaf. Now they try to go back in on the Olaf, and Shadow instantly has to use his shadows out. Bin goes in with a double knock-up and just dies at the end. And WE, they're bringing back some of the magic from yesterday.
It is a huge fight win for WE, but because Bin's passive does get them so low, they do have to back off the Baron at the very least for BLG. Knight will get the chance to respawn and set up vision around the area, but yes, absolutely huge, huge win for WE. Oh, man. There's just so much going on across these 2 games so far. We asked for another banger, and I think we're being delivered one right now.
Definitely one in favor of WE right now. Feels like Shadow can't really find any impact here on this Zed counter pick R5. And it's really going to be about the rest of the team to get something going. Bin and On have to be that stalwart front line as we do crest over 3 items for majority of members here. Did get that Mortal Reminder stop off from Elk to be able to take these down a peg. But yeah, I mean, just look how far ahead Cube is from the next highest, as well as Monki. He has been farming up a storm on both sides of the map.
And the reason that's so crazy is that he was down like 35 CS in the early game. Like, this was a nightmare early game for the Olaf, who was making plays around the map, but wasn't able to keep up with the Zed. Everything is equalized. This Zed pick has looked, quite frankly, almost entirely useless in terms of how it's come out. It's really been up to the carries here, and the front line is just not strong enough to be able to hold up.
And Ben just trying to answer side lanes, trying to find an answer, I guess, to Cube. But unfortunately, there is no answers to the Cube problem right now. Shadow trying to find his entrance here, but one undertow hits, and his BLG instantly on the back
York's
foot.
on the way.
That's going to be the speed up in here as well. WE has a flank. They're finally bringing all 5 players around as the Dragon has spawned. You got to remember, this is Soul for WE on an Infernal Soul.
This would be huge. It looks like Knight needs to stand in
Undertow
danger.
hits, he goes in. Ragnarok pop. Knight getting out, trying to get away. Can't get away from the Ragnaroking Olaf. He's just running rampant. Monkey! He's going insano! That's 3 kills down. WE find another one.
It's just unstoppable. The Olaf is simply too strong. 4,000 damage in that fight from the Olaf as he just runs at the 5-kill Azir, taking no damage and burning through his health bar. No ultimate can save you now, Knight, and that's going to be Infernal Soul for WE. You mentioned just how strong that is, but it's not just Infernal Soul. WE want Baron alongside their fight win.
Just get us to 3, man. Just go ahead and get us queued up for the 3rd game. Get us to 8 a.m. Pacific. That's what I'm here for. As WE, again, for a 2nd night in a row, find a domineering Game 2 advantage.
This has really been an awesome showcase for WE. Have there been mistakes? A few, but at the end of the day, this has really just been them understanding exactly what they need to do, looking at BLG, having a tough-to-execute comp, and forcing them to make a decision here. We see the step up from Knight. This is such a big problem. He ends up looking to try and poke down, but has to remember one small misposition mistake, and the game is essentially over. And this Olaf is not too concerned with any sort of soldiers that you might be bringing out. Bring a whole army. You cannot stop this Viking as he runs through the entirety of BLG. And again, at that point, that might be the nail in the coffin.
And, you know, I hate to be super poignant about things, but this might be the most useless Zed I have ever seen in pro play. Like, literally cannot do anything. It just comes down to the compositional difference. And I think it's just WE with a very, very strong idea of how they can execute these fights. And now, almost 5,000 gold lead, a little bit more than that here as they continue to destroy the BLG base.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I like the Zed pick and draft. I have not liked it in execution. I can definitely say that.
Okay, maybe this is it. Maybe they find it. Karis getting low, but now Monki is just running on the back line. He's under turrets. He's under everything, and he's still getting killed. He's still alive. Nobody can stop him. Bailout comes through, and he still runs through them. A triple kill for Monki, and that's WE evening up the series.
Absolutely disgusting. Nothing can stop Monki from running through the hearts of BLG as they push us to a game number 3.
We knew it was destiny. We knew it was coming. We knew Game 3 was our fate, and it will be a full 6-game day in the LPL.
And could we ask for anything more? Mazel, you asked for this at the beginning of the day. You manifested this. We knew that this was coming. You correctly called it.
Did I manifest it, or just I know that it was going to happen? Because for some reason, BLG lost their damn minds in this game too, and WE took full advantage of it with a very good team composition and level of execution to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, really, what it came down to was just you can't let the Olaf get out of control. A lot of really nice early plays going in favor of Monki. A skirmish in the jungle that we thought would go one way that didn't. And then from that point onwards, you saw Viking run the rift. So yeah, very, very good stuff from WE.
Didn't even need to buy items at the beginning. That's all that matters. In the end,
who needs them? Who
needs items? Who needs items? I think Shadow's gonna be put back on piggy duty. I don't think the Zed's coming back out. I'm not gonna lie. That's one of those moments like, oh, I feel so confident, man. Lock me Zed, brother. It's like you could have picked anything else. Probably anything else that had more impact on it. But again, I don't want to take away from what WE were able to do here. A lot of good decisions, a lot of good fights taken from them as well.
Let me ask you something, Lennon. Do you think they win this game if they have Sejuani in the jungle?
Probably.
Yeah.
It probably looks better.
That's all right.
I feel bad again. I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure that was like the most useless Zen I've ever seen in pro play. Like literally every time he went in, nothing happened. He just died instantly. And we've seen that before. But it feels bad to see BLG, who have been so dominant, have one of those moments. But again, it is WE who have been here before. Literally 24 hours ago, they won the second game of the series. They talked so much in the post game about how they can make good, how game 3 some big mistakes came through, and they wanted to make up for that. And now they have the opportunity.
They do have the chance, and again, gold graph, quite funny to look at. We see where BLG had their advantage. We just couldn't quite see where they could end things off. Really, it just kind of came down to better execution on a comp that was easier. Typically, when I look at teams that are struggling, one phrase that comes to mind is simplify the process, don't overthink it. This Zed was overthinking it. And this Olaf, I don't think you could possibly simplify the process more than Olaf Renata, let's go, bail out, run at him.
And it didn't even work the first couple times. And then he's like, you know, just keep trying, just keep doing it. And eventually it worked. And the combination of the hostile takeovers over the top was always so interesting, because when they had the opportunity to turn on the Olaf, they couldn't because they were getting hostile takeovered.
That's the big problem, right? Is if you are standing there and Olaf is just hitting you and you can't stop him, you lose. That's just it's the way the game goes. Yeah, God, disgusting play there. But also, Shadow, what are you doing there, man? You know,
Dude, I had this whole like, I was gonna make a call with the Bane line, with the Shadow being Shadow, blah blah blah. Never gave me an opportunity to even think about saying it because he went like 0-5 or whatever. But it was a lot of these fights we were like, W are just picking it apart better, right? Deciding better in the moment, and that is not a normal situation for BLG, where we respect them as these team fighters, picking out fights that maybe even don't look like winning fights for them, and here not able to do so, even though this one was pretty cheeky.
This was a, you know, there were some plays that I think they looked for. One of the underrated parts of this game that I think we haven't talked enough about was WE did such a great job at forcing BLG to play a little bit slower, to the point where York could just get a little bit more in a side lane. When you have a threat like that in a side lane, what you want to do is force BLG into a decision. If they end up committing to the 5v4, then Cube gets whatever he wants and you can disengage. If they send another member, you start winning the 4v4. Does any of this really matter? Monki just running at everyone.
Jesus
the fact that he didn't die here is unreal.
Christ, man. Bailout Olaf is actually a hell of a drug. He absolutely gets MVP here. There's nobody else besides Monki that gets MVP for this game.
Yeah, there's no conversation to be had. There was one champion I was thinking about for the entirety of this game, and it was Olaf. It didn't matter how many kills you gave Sivir or Azir or any scaler on the other side. Did not matter. Olaf was going to run through them all.
He was indeed. We'll hopefully get that MVP here soon. But WE, man. I love stories like this where it goes full circle. When you have the statements from the players saying, you know, we get another opportunity to try to clean up some of those mistakes that we've had. And they do indeed make it there and are able to. We do win. Indeed, Desk. We'll see. I'm sure it's Monki getting the MVP. His Olaf, his 5th MVP as well. 8-4-9. Just getting to take a stroll on Summoner's Rift.
You heard it here first, folks. Don't buy items as a jungler and you win player of the game. That's how it goes.
That's all that matters.
That's a success rate of 100% today. So credit to Monki. He had a fantastic game. If he plays like that again, WE are going to be in a really good spot.
We'll see. BLG still the only undefeated team in Group Ascend. See if WE can change that and maybe change their fate for the rest of split number 3. We'll be back after a short little break for Game